My name is Austin Pintar. I'll be giving my speech on government entitlement programs. This affects all of us, especially our generation. If you work, especially in the summers like I do, in between years of school, you'll see that a lot of your paycheck goes towards tax dollars, and a lot of that is Social Security and other government entitlement programs that I will tell you about. Our nation needs to reform the programs such as Social Security, welfare, Medicare, and Medicaid greatly to ensure the success of our nation for our generations and generations after us. The first one that we have would be welfare. For those of you who don't know, welfare is a government entitlement program that helps needy families. It'll help them with health care, child care, housing assistance, food stamps, and anything else that they need to live. And this is a great program, but there's a lot of abuse in this program. According to Hans Economics, welfare decapitalizes the workers and capitalizes people not working and on welfare, which in the long term decreases productivity while also bringing down the economy because there will be less jobs since there will be not as much productivity, which creates jobs. As an economics major, I've learned a lot about this, and you need the productivity to keep the economic growth going, and without economic growth, our nation cannot withstand. And then the increased taxes that I was talking about earlier also affects us because when we have less money for consumption, this also affects economic growth because we're not putting money back into the economy, which will not allow us to sustain. So now some solutions to welfare. There's a very simple one. Private charities are huge in the United States of America. They are great. They're great programs. They're good for everything. What they do is they monitor the employment hunt closer, which is a big problem in welfare because people use it as an insurance to say that they're going out and trying to find a job while they still get paid and they're not doing as much as they should. And then the private charities can also cut off the funds easier than the government can. The government, they have caseworkers that work on the welfare program, whereas the private charities can monitor it closer and they make sure that the system is not being abused. Drug testing is also needed more because unfortunately there is a drug epidemic in the United States and a lot of low-income families have their low income because of drug problems. So drug testing will eliminate this problem and also take families off welfare that shouldn't be on it. We also need to closely monitor the food stamp system. The food stamp system is basically the system where you can buy food from grocery stores based off of your certain allowance. Just from personal experience, I've seen people that have sold their food stamps for money to buy things like cigarettes and other non-necessities, and this is just another abuse of the system that must be corrected and can be corrected through the use of private charities. The next government entitlement program I'd like to talk about is Social Security. Social Security, it benefits the retired of age 65 and older. Some 62 get partial benefits, but mainly 65. Also the disabled and the families of the disabled, deceased, or retired. Social Security is currently unsustainable at the rate that it is going. Basically what it is the older groups are becoming much more prominent due to the baby boom, which was right after World War II in the 1950s. There was a large birth rate, which now, as of 2008, that cohort was eligible for Social Security, and this turned into the working force getting the burden of this large cohort of people being on Social Security. The age dependency ratio is increasing, and the workforce can't support them. Life expectancy is also increasing, which means we must increase the age to be put on Social Security. According to Professor David Shapiro of Penn State, the ratio of 65 plus is increasing from 22 out of every 100 to 28 out of every 100 by 2020, which just shows the increase in the age cohort that will be collecting Social Security. The pay-as-you-go system cannot sustain itself, and we must change this, and there are some solutions to that. We must teach people how to save for retirement. A lot of people are insufficiently saving for retirement, which leaves them highly depending on Social Security. We also must shift to private pension and private benefit plans so that people can do with what they want with their money, so they are saving for retirement rather than depending on the government. We also must raise the Social Security age to a higher age due to the higher life expectancy from modern technology and other things that have led to people living longer and collecting Social Security for longer. And the last two government entitlement programs I'd like to talk about are the health coverage programs, also known as Medicare and Medicaid. Medicare is also closely tied with Social Security. It is for people of 65 and older, as well as the severely disabled. And then Medicaid is health coverage for the poor families, usually on welfare, that cannot afford their own health care. Now, these are great programs as well, but again, there's a lot of discrepancies with it. According to R. Bruce Jostin of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Medicare is responsible for 25% of the federal debt since 2000. 25% of our debt is going towards the elderly and the disabled's health care, which that is a lot taken away from other programs such as education, transportation, and the environment that we could be spending. Now, this shows you right here, this graph. We have Medicaid in the green, we have Medicare in the orange, and then Social Security in the blue. As you can see throughout the years, 2007, it was about right there, and it just keeps increasing from 2030 to 2025. And at this rate, we're not going to be able to sustain this, so there must be drastic changes to prevent this from happening. Medicaid has severe problems as well. With the recent legislation of Obamacare, there's expected to be 17 more dependencies on Medicaid. This will double the cost from $265 billion to $554 billion we are going to be putting into Medicaid, taking away from other important programs. Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare attribute to 42% of our budget. And at the rate it's going right now, it will increase annually by 7%. If we don't fix this system, we will have to cut the budgets from programs, like I said earlier, education, health, environment, and transportation. At this rate, we'll either have to cut those programs, we'll have to tax each household an additional $12,000 per year just to make up for the increase in all these programs' budgets. Now, the solutions, that we must educate people on healthier lifestyles. The main thing with the health insurance industry is obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure are very prominent in the United States right now, and they cost all the health coverage programs a lot of money to cover. So in turn, the health coverage costs keep going up and up and up. So with a better education program, we'll be able to fix and combat these issues. We also must let the free market of private healthcare do its work its own course. People will pay less taxes, which means they will be able to consume more, put more money into the economy, and stimulate the economy, which the only thing to combat these issues is economic growth. Now, as you can see, there are 4 prominent programs that we have right now of government entitlement programs that do help the right people, but also need massive reform. Without us making these changes to the programs, we will not be able to sustain as an economy, and our nation will falter under. As an economics major, I see this in all my classes, and just out on the street every day, I see the system getting abused. And without these massive reforms, we will not be able to sustain as a nation. So please take this seriously. Thank you.